Welcome to the stage. He's got his great speech about,
What's your speech about, sir?
When I got COVID.
When I got COVID. Give it a hand. Yay!
Aloha!
Aloha.
Give me a good hug. There we go.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Nate. Oh, God. Okay. I called this speech Living with COVID, Lived with COVID. I ended up with Livid with COVID. I was trying to figure out what is the purpose of this speech. And it is not to make you feel bad, not to gross you out. It's not to be politically, spinning on anything. There's no medical advice. I'm not giving out medical advice. I'm just telling you what it is. It is what it is. And with a lot of that disinformation and misinformation and this and that and all that, people wonder, what is it really like? And there's an unknown and there's a dread. And because of that, I can kind of dispel some of that, just telling you what it is. So just firsthand, so I'm not talking from Mr. Experience, voluntary show of hands, how many people have gotten COVID and gotten over it? 1, 2, 3, 4 out of what, 8? Oh, 50%. So
maybe I've caught it and not known it. So there's some of us
we're talking like if you the test,
no.
like the home test, no for sure. Now like maybe I got a cold, no. Like for sure with the test. Because there is a little bit about the test. I should open it up for question and answer, but I'll try to just answer your questions in the speech. So 50% of you kind of are thinking, I know. You don't need to tell me. So let me use a prompt. T-minus 3 days. Okay, so at the beginning of February, there was the Punahou Carnival. It was very, very rainy, like today, but it was constantly rainy. And it eased up, and a friend of mine had called me, and I'm so grateful because I didn't have his phone number. He said, I'll call you, and I don't have your number. And I was like, oh my God, I don't have his number. But he called me, and a bunch of friends from Punahou got together, about 6 or 7, no, less than that. Friends got together at Outrigger Canoe Club, and he's I don't know, some of these guys, some of these friends are very wealthy and successful actually. But, when you meet them again, it's just like, hey, back to the days. And I won't tell you, well, I will tell you. One of my friends is Royal Hawaiian, and his aunt recently passed away, Abigail Kavananakoa. So I can't even imagine how much financially everyone's worth. The other one's like independent, rich person. But a couple of us are just like normal. But we're all at the table, and we're talking, and they're having the beers. I don't do that no more, but they're having all this kind of stuff. And I am just thinking, hey, this is great. It's a little rainy, but hey, we're at the table. One time my friend, Quentin, he's looking at me across the table like this. Just looking at me like stare. And I'm like, okay, Quentin, what's up? He was looking at a TV over my shoulder. I was like, what the hell? Thought something was wrong. Why are you looking at me? But like that. So we were having a good time. But the reason I bring this up is because I had to calculate my day 0. Day 0 is when you first feel symptoms of COVID. They have you count your days. So there's a day 0. So this was 3 days, T-minus 3 days before that symptom day. And I remember a slight scratchy throat. Not a sore throat, but a slight scratchy throat. It's a little bit, yeah, I remembered that because I thought back, where did this come from? How did I get this? Oh, not who's to blame, but where did I stop wearing my mask where this happens to be? I get it after 3 years of evading this freaking COVID. 3 years and got all the vaccinations. I was up with the double variant thing and the XYZ and the Omicron and all that. I'm like up to date with the vaccines. I was like, there's more vaccines? Come on. Right here. That's where I was at with the science that I was picking up. And so this brings us to day 0. Day 0, I think, was a Sunday. And what happens is I start getting a temperature. I just don't feel good. Now, the first thing I do is look for a thermometer, and of course, couldn't find one. But I did wind up getting a thermometer. So my day 0, I'm taking my temperature, and it's going up to like 102. Now, I don't know if you get the temperature, when you ever get a temperature, your brain starts to get it heats up, you can't think, and it's probably killing brain cells better than all that college experimentation. But it's a day, and I'm wondering if this is where they get brain fog from. So I was getting nervous because I thought, hey, I caught this thing now. My sister had a spare test. I don't know if you've ever taken these home tests. They're about 15 minutes. You can take these home tests. They're fantastic. You take them, you do the little swabby yourself, and your little drip drip in the little thing. You wait 15 minutes, and ding ding with these little lines. And I had it in spades. You're supposed to wait 15 minutes. At 6 minutes, this thing's going pee with this big solid T line. I'm going, So after, I'm going, oh my gosh, I got it. And I didn't really feel bad. Actually felt kind of, it was like, hey, I got it now. It was weird. So this is it. I'm going, this is it, So whenever it was, I had a fever, I was very temperature sensitive, so I had to snuggle up. The slightest wind, the slightest cold, and it was all rainy. And when the rain stopped, it was windy. And so I was miserable with the temperature and the fever. So I just bundled up, shook and shiver, and sweated that out for a couple days, about 3 days. Then I was good. I'm like, hey, a week later, day 7, I'm good. I tested again, home test, positive. I'm like, oh, dang, it's still hanging around. So I went and go see with my friend Michael the Super Bowl game on television. He's like, oh, we're not afraid of COVID, blah, blah. We'll watch the game. At the end of the game, I'm like, all of a sudden, the shivers. I'm just, and I got to drive home. And I was getting a little nauseous. But then about 3 days after that, feeling good. But day 8, I'm taking Sudafed because, okay, if you're thinking this affects me the same as it affects others, probably not, because it depends on pre-existing conditions. And I had them all. I mean, I'm over 50. I have sleep apnea, so I'm like treating that with this little CPAP thing. I got whatever. In the lockdown, I ate Oreos, so I was overweight. I had high blood pressure. I'm like going down. I'm like, what is this, pre-diabetes? I'm like working on all these health things. I'm like, oh no, this could really get me. But I'm really confident that because I was vaxxed to the max, that it didn't hit me as badly. And plus it was the latest variant, which wasn't as deadly. So the main thing here is it's out there. This is the purpose of this speech. It's still there. It's still real. My sister in Waimanalo says, oh, I hope you're feeling better. Just stay away from those vaxes. Just stay away from those vaccines. Don't take any. Like, well, one, it's too late, but I'm really glad I took the vaccine. She's anti-vaxxer, right? And the other problem really was I'm feeling better. This is day 31. It was totally tested negative on day like 20. And I tested over and over again, 3 times on day 2. And so it lingers, it doesn't want to go away, and it's basically the awareness of, yeah, it's still out there. So take it for what it is. I hope it was helpful. Thank you.
Really good. I'm glad you're still with us.
I
Give a
live.
hand to him. He's still with us.